This is Trophy Gold, Roots of Old Kalduhr, Part 4. I want to do a bit of a recap before we begin play. So the last thing that we saw was, you know what, I need to stop for a second.
Are your headphones plugged up?
No, sorry, what were you saying, Ben? It's okay. All right. It's okay. Sorry. Yeah, okay, I think we're good now. Right, so let's do a bit of a recap. When we last saw your characters, they were in the Dwarven Baths. There are 3 different large chambers: the Caldarium, the Tepidarium, and the Frigidarium. And if I recall correctly, Korkluk and Osto were in the Frigidarium, and Gleneth was in the Caldarium, and Mazarfond was in the Tepidarium. And we don't have Mazarfond today, but Mazarfond also wasn't like in immediate danger. So I think it's, I have a thought on where Mazarfond is, and we'll cross that bridge next week when we have Mike back. But for now, someone had tampered with the polar bear freezing water spout and caused it to rupture and start filling the room with like freezing water and ice crystals. And that's the situation that Korkluk and Osto are dealing with. It's less dangerous for Korkluk because Korkluk is not organic, but could affect the bees and could freeze your joints theoretically. So you're not completely out of the woods here. And Gleneth had the floor come out underneath her and drop her into the boiling caldarium. And we kind of ended on the sort of dual cliffhangers. Taking a look at the characters right now, you're actually all in pretty decent shape ruin-wise. No one has more than 3 or 4, so that's good. Fair number of conditions, but you know, we'll just kind of see how they affect things as we go. And in terms of burden to gold, that, well, Korkluk has lots of like spare treasure, so I don't think it's never really got a major issue with Korkluk, and Osto has a lot of spare treasure too. And Gleneth, you've got a fair amount as well. So you all can, like, in a pinch, if you have to meet your burdens, you can. But that's sort of where we're at as far as that goes. And so I think I want to pick up in the Caldarium with Ibu Gleneth. You have been dropped into the boiling water. You have mere moments to react here. Gleneth, what do you do?
In a panic, she would try and mend the floor. And as the tiles moved up out of the water back into place, she would try and step on them to try and lift herself out.
That's interesting. I think this is a really dangerous approach because ritual magic requires a little bit of like care and like time. And so doing it in a hurry, I think, makes the situation pretty dangerous. But I'm open to it. So let's do it. Risk roll. Ben, Brian, what could go wrong?
You're just not fast enough to beat gravity.
Or gruesomely, you mended it after you've fallen through, like replace the tiles, leaving you sealed underneath. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. Like, you meant it too well and like it seals you up. That's pretty horrifying, but I like it. Okay, good. Let's talk about dice. You get 1 light die if you have a relevant skill or piece of equipment. I don't know if equipment's really applicable here unless you just happen to have it in your hand in that moment. But you do have mending as a skill. And so I think that's interesting. Oh, this is not really a ritual you're doing either, is it? This is like, are you kind of like
It's
reverse
not,
unraveling?
It is kind of a combination of the two because I'm trying to, it's in a panic. So I'm just grasping at whatever.
Yeah, I'm into it. Like
spirit I have.
sort of like a reverse unravel. You have the mending skill, so I'll let it go. I like it. I think it's fun in the fiction. 2 light dice and dark die for the ritual. So drop over into the die roller and do us a risk 2 light, 1 dark. Oh wait, Devil's Bargains. What am I talking about? I don't know how to play this game anymore. I haven't done Devil's Bargains. You have 1 light and no other light. Thank you. Devil's Bargains. I think in the interest of for this like fast action scene, I'm going to only let 1 offer go. Brian, you get to make the offer.
Ooh. Can you remind me, was there anybody else in the room?
There are, well, out of character there is, but Gleneth doesn't know that. So,
okay. In your hurry to, escape and go upwards, you have to abandon that chunk of heavy metal that you got from the orphan's office, or the office of the orphanage.
Well, it was you put the magic in the pearl or in the marble, right? So that.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I technically don't have it on me, so we'll have to, because naked.
I thought you actually had, I see what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not using any of my equipment, any of my
Yeah,
items. I'm just assuming they're at the edge of the pool, and that I'm just trying internally to use my magic to save myself desperately.
Naked. You get some horrible scars then that make masking yourself quite a bit. Like, your ability to pass as a semi-fae being messes up with your kind of ability to be illusion or cast illusions.
Do you take the offer?
I do. I think that when I do try and disguise myself with illusion, maybe those scars are just part of the illusion, but they're always there. Nice.
Risk 2 ones. All right. So you got it 5 dark. And so your ruin is going to go up. A complication, I'm going to give you condition. It's just going to be scarred is your condition. And the complication, though, with the success is going to be that you discover that you are, in fact, there are Dwarven bath attendants in this room, keeping an eye on things. If you're okay with that, you can, well, you don't have any choice because 5 is high. Just give us the fiction. What does it look like when you save yourself?
I think that as Gleneth is falling and submerging in the water, and it starts to creep up her legs and thighs, and then it gets almost to her neck, she's just thrusting her arms down into the water, trying to grab at the tiles to mend them back into place and scrabble, like falling through the ice it's just the opposite hot version of that, trying to cling to the tiles wetly to pull myself out.
Nice. You manage to pull yourself out, and that's when you will notice, perhaps a little too late, a Dwarven bath attendant is reaching their hand out to pull you up out of the caldarium. I'll remind you that the dwarves in this setting are animated stone statues of children, right? So, meanwhile, in the Frigidarium, the polar bear water spout has erupted or ruptured, and it is spraying freezing water and mist everywhere in the room. It's incredibly deadly. Who's going to try to act to stop this? You can both help each other if you need to, but who has an idea? Who's acting first?
Is it coming only out of the mouth of the bear?
I think it's actually like kind of shattered a bit. So it's like the mouth and like the wall. So it's like a big kind of hole. Like the jaw like broke off or something.
So not like a thing we can plug up.
Well, I mean, I guess you could. You could if you have the right stuff, I guess.
Could I cast ward, and then Corcola could maybe try and fix it while we're protected?
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's good. If you have time to fix it, yeah, that's good to go. Well, it's a risk roll. So what do you think in terms of skills? Or no, what could go wrong? Why can't I do this today? Sarah and Brian, what could go wrong here?
The ward doesn't prevent the water. It doesn't actually protect you from the water. You're trapping yourself in with all of that water that's coming at you.
Yeah, I was kind of picturing a giant Korkaluk ice bubble. Me trapped inside, like help.
I like that too. I think that's good. Let's do dice now. Okay. Relevant skill or piece of equipment, Osto.
Well, so ward is stay concentrating to protect a small area, and I have persistence.
I'll take it. You have one light die. Just one devil's bargain from Sarah.
No matter what, you lose 5 toes of your choosing.
So every other one's fine.
Some frostbite happens. Do you take that?
I feel like that would seriously hinder further exploration, so I'll pass.
You have one light and one dark for the ritual. Take it away.
Wow.
You got a 1 and a 1. That is a fail, hard fail. Doesn't get worse than that, actually. However, help is available. That is the only chance of scraping out of this, Korkaluk. Do you wish
Guess
to
who's willing to help?
Do you wish to expose yourself, Korkaluk, in order to help?
I am super exposed.
How so?
Well, my life is at risk as well, I think. My thought was to try and initially like grab Bosto and run out of here, but so perhaps not knowing that he's trying to ward this, assuming this is happening fast, that I'm more like rushing to grab Bosto, pick him up and run out the door with him or something.
Oh, interesting. So you might just change the whole nature of what's happening here.
Yeah, exposing my backside to
Yeah.
freezing water, not staying in the warded zone.
I'm into it. Roll weak to get a light die.
Three.
That is still a fail. Was all
I mean,
bad.
a quick question.
Yeah.
Not to re-roll a single die, but should I have been clicking the help roll rather than the weak roll?
Oh, I didn't know there was a help option. It's the same effect. It's just a light die. It doesn't.
It's the same effect, right? Yeah. But in combat, you'd be rolling a weak point, but in a risk, you're just rolling the help die. Right?
Yeah. Well, before in the old die roller, we did weak because there was not a command for the help.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Here I guess there is, but it's the same effect. Sure. However, now this was a fail still, but it makes the dark not high anymore. So, Osto, you have the option of adding dark die and rolling your dice again.
I think I'll do that. Come on. Wow.
It's all bad. It's all bad. With a miss.
The numbers are kind of stunning, though, that you did another 1 and then 2 dark on the 3, tying my light.
Yeah, it was
roll.
a 1, 3, and 3. All bad.
That's a lot of bad dice. 3 1s, 3 3s.
And your ruin goes up because it matches your help die. So your ruin goes up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is that couldn't really have been much worse.
It was like the worst outcome. Okay, terrible outcome. Osto, I think Korkaluk's intervention is going to make it so you don't die, but you're both taking a ruin and you have to leave the Frigidarium. So let's just have that scene.
Let me ask a question before we describe it. Am I taking 2 ruin or 1? And
you're just taking 1.
Okay.
And armor doesn't apply. You just take it. And the penalty for Osto's taking 1 as well. So let's just have the scene though. Korkaluk, how do you rescue in a sort of way? Osto.
All right. I kind of run forward, clacking and clattering, terrified bees like going ahead of me, that trying to get out of the room back to a place that's warmer. And I'm like, Osto, no time for that, and kind of barrel into him, and Osto's like double my body mass, which slows me down. I take a blast of cold, icy stuff all over me, like joints are bitter pieces, or little pieces of vine are cracking loose.
And the dwarven bath attendants that are still in there, they're not affected by it, and they are doing their best to try to like seal up the hole. Who knows whether they're going to have any luck or not, but the space is cut off for the rest of you until they fix it, or whatever, wherever the water comes from ends. So Gleneth, the dwarven bath attendant assists you out and then just goes back to whatever work it's doing. They just sort of like go through the motions of moving towels over here and then over there, and pretending to sweep things or whatever. I one time was a tangent. I had to go to a funeral a couple years ago, or like a year ago, and I was staying at this hotel, and I was sitting and I was like reading a book in the breakfast room, and I just watched the two workers like on a loop, just doing nothing, but like making the motions of doing something. It was incredibly bizarre. I was like, this is very weird. Like I counted them like going back and forth between the rooms like 30 times. And then one of them was like just sweeping nothing, like just literally nothing. I was like, this is so too much. This is bleak and I can't handle it. But anyway, okay. So the two of you are now back out in the sort of connecting chambers or the connecting corridors. No sign of Mazarfond. Gleneth, you're out of the Caldarium. What do you do? Or you're out of the pool, at least.
Yeah. So it's suddenly, because my flesh is all raw and red and starting to even like bubble a little bit on my limbs and extremities, it's now way too hot in here. And so Gleneth will quite tenderly walk over to her things, gather them up into a pile, and leave the room as quickly as she is capable. And you two out in the hall just see Gleneth with a pile of laundry and burnt arms and legs and no clothes on.
Here's a good time to remind you all of the set goal, which is to unlock the main door. Now you saw the main door. It was in the chamber that you entered in from the crack in the wall. It is a large metal door that has a 3-pronged lock in it. The door will not budge. The only way it can be opened is with the lock or with the key. And you can spend the tokens, of course, to automatically find the way of unlocking it or getting it open. Or you can keep searching. Or you can
Maz, we've only got 2 hunt tokens right now. And then we're the only, am I kind of picturing a room with 3 bath exits in this door? Is there anywhere else to go? Just the 3 baths?
So there's like the way you come in, which has the main door, like the front door of the place, but you kind of came in from the back, sort of through a crack in the wall that dark sorcerer pointed out to you. And then it has like essentially like a hallway that goes and then splits to the 3 areas. So,
yeah. Gleneth will begin slowly draping herself and like gently trying, like a bad sunburn, trying not to touch any of the fabric to her arms and legs.
Well, these baths are too hot. These baths are too cold. Maybe this bath is just right.
Maybe we don't try and get shinies off the wall while people are in the room this time.
Shush, those are worth a lot of money.
They better be.
Looking at the frost that's starting to drip off of Corpuluk, it's like just tapping some of the ice crystals.
and Mazer is nowhere to be seen. And out of character, we know not to dwell on it too much, but I'm sure your characters will remark upon the fact that Mazer is no longer where you left him. So
he's probably getting a relaxing spa treatment, getting a mani-pedi in this hallway down here. Let's go this way.
if you head to the tepidarium, in this one, the large pool is half full of muck rather than water. Everything is thickly coated in slime and mold, and the air is actually heavy with spores and decay. One side of the pool has a wide deck with the remnants of wood furniture on it. Several mostly intact chairs are grouped together on this deck. Each chair has a slime-covered skeleton in it, and they're all posed as if they were conversing and drinking wine. You actually see in the muck a little stone arm struggling in the muck. It has no hand. The hand seems to have broken off.
Is this reachable from outside, or do we need to wade into the muck to get to it?
We can talk about that in a moment, I think. I will also tell you that there's a mural that is partially covered by the mold as well. So Korkuluk, since you asked the question, if you have some equipment, you can, well, I don't know. You'd have to have a way of like hooking a handless stone stub. Otherwise, you have to go in there and hoist it out. So.
I have the condition fused with a mangrove from Leviathan's Bridge. Can I maybe use that to anchor myself to the shore here a little bit, in the way that mangroves have those roots, like kind of planter root, so that I can wade in through the muck and try and grab this, what I'm assuming is a submerged dwarf arm, and haul it out.
It's very Groot of you. I like it. Let's do it. It's a risk roll. Ben and Sarah, what might go wrong here?
I think in a classic quicksand sort of fashion, that when you try to pull, the suction pulls you in instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you discovered that there's something actually holding it down there.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I was thinking it's not a dwarf.
It's the lanternfish version.
Yeah, exactly. highly adapted to this environment. Let's talk dice. Do you have a relevant skill here? Oh, actually, I'll take your condition as the die. The way you've described it. Devil's bargain. We can all make a bargain. My offer is that there is something holding on to the statue down there. Or to the dwarf.
In the process of pulling, or you snap your mangrove roots and you lose connection.
This dwarf or this thing is exactly where it needs to be, and trying to mess with it will offend the dwarves.
All right. Is mind or body at risk here? Am I on a dark die too?
I think it is. Yeah.
All right.
Are you gonna take one of those tokens?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's go with something else is holding onto the dwarf.
Go ahead and make your risk roll.
5 of light.
5 light. That's good. The complication is going to be that thing is going to attack right now. If you're okay with that, let it go. Otherwise, you can add a dark die and roll for a 6.
Yeah, I'm up for a muck fight.
Sounds good. You succeed, though. I'll take the fiction here. You've root yourself as you described, and you're able to like kind of go in and you have purchase to grab hold of the thing, and you pull it out. And when you pull it out, it's actually just it's just 2 arms, a torso, and a leg. There's no head or other leg. And the one arm that you grabbed has no hand, but the other arm is gripping the 3-pronged key to the main entrance. It has it. And so you can take that key from it. But Osto, to your dismay, perhaps, a mold slime beast, which is an elephant-sized mound of multicolored mold running through with clear, glistening slime, and broken stone pieces of dwarven bodies lie within the mound, partially covered with tendrils of mold. Also, bones and rusted bits of armor are inside of it, but it rises up. It is, in fact, the muck of the pool. And it lurches forward, slinging vaguely limb-shaped pseudopods at you all. It is an endurance 10. Please say how you're vulnerable and roll your weak point if you're not running.
Well,
Gleneth, oh, go ahead.
Since I'm waist deep in it already, I'm pretty vulnerable. My weak point is a 5.
Gleneth has fresh burns all over her body, and I imagine getting muck all over them is going to be real, real bad.
I got weak point 3, and Osto is still recovering from the blast of frigid air. He's moving slow.
Let's have a combat 3. Osto, you can take it.
A 9.
5, 4, and a 2. That is 9. Korkaluk, you're taking a hit, and you have not defeated the creature. All right, Osto, kick off the fiction. What does it look like?
I imagine Osto pulls out his hammer and just takes a swipe to find it just goes entirely through the muck.
Gleneth?
Gleneth pulls out what looks like a long steel knitting needle and stabs at it until she finds like a firm bit, glancing off some stone bodies inside of it.
Korkaluk?
Oh, I'm futilely trying to whack this thing with my axe, and it's pulling me lower into the muck.
Are you taking the hit? Are you marking armor?
I'm wrestling with that. I think I'll take the hit to the armor. Probably wiser to keep my ruin a step lower yet. So ruin 4, but I'm gonna lose my powdered wig. It just gets slurped off, added to the muck.
I love it. Gleneth, do a combat 4. That'll do it. 5, 5, 4, and 2. Korkaluk, 2 5s are
Right.
not good.
That is 3 hits so taking this combat. Ouch.
Do you have armor to absorb these 2 hits?
I do. My padded jacket is going down also.
The creature will be destroyed, though. Korkaluk, keep it going.
Man, kind of pulled underneath. The creature's trying to drown me, like it thinks that, you know, animate beings all breathe or whatever, and pulls me under. But you know, once I'm under, I can do some jabby bits with the pointed axe. But my jacket is just, it's disgusting beyond repair, like not fit for wearing. So it's more that it's not that the jacket gets torn to shreds now, but once I'm up out of this muck, there's no way I'm wearing that again.
Very nice. Osto, keep it going.
Osto will retract his hammer from the muck and just try again, swinging at the creature's head. And it connects with something, but the hammer's still stuck in the muck.
Gleneth, you get to finish it off.
As Gleneth is still very fond of climbing with her gauntlets, she's actually skipping up to the top of the muck now and trying to stab at the top of it where she thinks its brain must be. And finally, she sinks into what feels almost like an organ. It's too dense, and it quivers and then loses all corporeal form. Splashes back into the pool.
Nice. Let's see if there was anything valuable inside it. Brian, roll a 10 gold. Okay, 2 gold. I think it's going to have a large ruby in it, and it's going to have a surprisingly well-preserved silver helmet. They're each both worth 1 gold. The rest of it's just deteriorated junk and stone. There's also the pool itself, which you can now have access to at the bottom of it. So
Is that helmet a thing wearable as armor, or is it
it
purely
is, yeah,
decorative?
you can totally put it on. Yeah.
So I was about to say you all should take the loot, but since I just wiped out all my armor, can I maybe trade you one of these beautiful black gemstones that I found recently, shaped like an eye of a bear, for that silver helmet, so that I might wear it for the time being?
I have no problem with you taking the helmet, Korgluk. You look very strange without the
Remember,
wig.
yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed by the mossy thatch of straw that's passes
The
for
helmet
hair
is kind
for
of
me.
a like conquistador vibe, right? Is the
Excellent.
the look of it. So,
Morian, excellent.
yeah. Who's taking the
Does somebody
ruby?
want to take the ruby and one of these black stones? Is that all right?
How's your burdens, Gleneth?
I believe that I could use a ruby and or a black stone, but I think it's just my burdens are fine. I have enough treasure to cover it.
Yeah, I'll take the ruby.
Sounds good.
Black polar bear eyeball for me.
Mhm. Well, Osto, the room is ostensibly safer now. What do you do?
Turn to the others and say, we should leave a note for Mazur, but we gotta go.
I mean, looking at the mural in this room, what does it depict?
Make a hunt roll.
A 6.
A 6 light, nice. Take a token. It actually depicts something that you all will know very well because it's a fairly common thing to be depicted in this world. When you clear away the mold, you see that it is an image of the old one of the forest, one of the major gods of the trophy world. The old one of the forest is believed to be the sort of divine manifestation of the Kalduhr forest. Well, there's loads of rumors about it. Go look it up in Loom and make up your own thoughts about the old one of the forest. Those are my thoughts. So
Did you mention the bottom of the pool as being a separate searchable thing or not?
yeah, you can definitely go down in there now. Yeah. If you want to do that, you can go drop down and poke around.
Asta, your idea was we needed to get out of here.
I mean, we're in pretty rough shape.
Yeah, that seems fair.
Gleneth is
You got
taking
to make
some
the
of the
climb back
muck.
up too. So
Yeah. All right. Do we try the key, or do we, having grabbed it, just leave and come back later? What are your thoughts?
Well, the door needed 3 keys.
no, it's a 3-pronged key.
Oh.
We have the key and we know how to get back here.
So you think back to camp and
I wouldn't say
patch up
getting
some stuff?
across the little pulley system was the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah. Well,
Actually, wasn't one of our devil's bargains that we couldn't
you
go
can't.
back that
Yeah,
way?
you can't even go that
No,
way.
we can't.
It's like busted or something. Yeah. Maybe a cable broke or something. But
Gleneth
you can make the
is
climb. You can make the climb from anywhere though. So
Gleneth is using the muck to write over the mural. Mazur, meet us outside.
picking up the shattered dwarf, could I hand it to one of the functional ones?
yes, they might already be dealing with it, to be honest. But yeah, you can do that. Yeah. They'll take it. The dwarves attend. They're not hostile unless you're doing something like intentionally hostile. They're not pleased about the polar bear thing, but they've got that's something for them to deal with.
I'm curious. I'm assuming this dwarf that's missing its head is deceased. Is it rigid or is it
No, it's still
flexible
flailing
enough?
around. It's still like moving its.
Oh, it still
body.
moves.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't just being shaken by the moss
No.
or the muck monster.
It almost certainly went down there to get the key and then got stuck. So who knows how many centuries ago.
We should definitely try to get to camp. I don't know where what Mazur wandered off to, but at the very least, we should climb up out of here. Do you think the key will work?
Worth a shot. We'll hold on to it though, just in case they lock it behind us.
We do, I think, collectively have 3 hunt tokens now if we would like to just succeed at the climb up.
You can
Yeah,
definitely
that's
do that.
probably a good idea.
Remind me, the climb up. What is it normally a risk roll, or is there more to it? I don't
It's
recall.
just another set.
I'm curious, and not that you can reveal details. I don't need the details, but in terms of writing it, it's a set that we traverse multiple times.
Mhm.
In Roots of Old Kalduhr, is it like climb 1, climb 2, climb 3?
No,
Each one's a different
it's like
set?
tables. It's
Or
like
is it
generators. It's like tables.
tables. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. All right. So it's not the same thing each time.
Nope.
All right.
Unless you specifically go back to the one spot you're at, which you can't do right now. So
But if we take the climb up now, then coming back that way will be safe. Okay.
well, you always have to do the climb up and down. But the thing is you can climb, you can also climb down, right? And every layer you go, each climb gets you there. So you can climb from the surface to layer 4 if you've already made it to layer 4 in one go. So there's a utility in like getting down into the layers, right?
The question I have then is if we're taking a climb to a level, are we able to choose our destination if we've been there before? Like, could
Yeah, so
we
if you were
theoretically?
Yeah, if you've been to layer, let's say you've been to layer 1, 2, and 4, but not 3, you can climb from layer 4 to 2 to 1 to the surface, or you can climb from the surface to 1 to 2 or 4 in one go, in one climb roll.
But can we target a set within that level? Like if,
No.
okay,
Well,
that
unless
was
you-
my question. I
unless the
can't come
climb-
back to
yeah,
the baths.
Yeah, well, I guess you could. It kind of depends. It probably depends on the circumstances and whether it would be feasible for you to reach it again. You know, so now I think to get back to, for example, the orphan's villa, you would have to go back up, go to the camp, and then go back down that way and then make your little journey through the alleyway to get to the orphan's villa.
I say we
Try
take the
that
climb
key,
up.
shall we?
Oh yeah.
So we're trying the key.
Yep.
You hear the chunk of the locks. It's a bit rusty, so you have to give it some heave in order to get it turned, but you do. And it opens up. It opens up into a fairly tight, narrow, like long hall, which it's almost like it's a tunnel. It has like, it's built over with stone. Do you press forward down the hall?
I would like to take my marble that I have been casting light on as my source and just like skipping stone, just lob it down the tunnel to
See if
where
anything
it goes.
reacts. Yeah.
Mhm.
Make a 2-die hunt roll.
5 light.
You will learn, you'll get a token, and you discover, you encounter something terrible. The marble gets all the way down, but then something picks it up.
Like the light is extinguished now,
Yeah, well,
or the light is.
I think it's extinguished, and you see a vague shape picking it up. Yeah.
Mhm.
Speaking of this, I think I need to light a new torch now.
And slowly ticking off my 30 marbles I started with. So I'll cast an illusion of light on another one.
Folks, I'm down to just 3 torches. Does anybody else have torches in case Plymouth runs out of these glow balls?
Yeah, I have torches.
Are you making your way down the hall? I'll remind you, if you go out the other way of the Dwarven Baths, you have the sorcerer there, and you don't have your dark sorcerer emissary with you at the moment.
And I don't suppose we can make the climb from the baths.
You cannot. No, you have to go out to the streets.
All
I
right, so
have
out to the
more
streets.
marbles if you want another one.
Start dealing with whatever this is down there.
Challenge it to a game of marbles. Do it. So we have to go down this hall or out onto the streets where the dark sorcerer is. Yes.
True. Those are your options. Or continue searching the Dwarven Baths, I guess.
Oh, find another. All right.
Do I hear any response to me shouting down this tunnel?
And there's no response.
Corkle, you speak Old Kalduhr, right?
Do you?
I'm gonna say yes. That's not really true, but I'm gonna in character. Oh, absolutely. And I say that in Old Kalduhr, but with like, I botch it just a little bit. And the Old Kalduhr within your shot is like, that's the modern dialect.
I don't think they'll know. So regardless.
You got parse that can work in reverse, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you want to try to attempt to do rudimentary communication Old Kalduhr, I'll let you.
Yeah, I'm the mannequin version of a protocol droid.
So what are we doing?
I feel like we need to leave this place, but I don't know what's at the end of that hallway. Do we chance a mystery, or do we chance something fabulously evil?
If we can call out and maybe tell them, we're just looking for a way out, maybe that go better.
Well, Korkalek, if you think that you can communicate with it, go on then.
All right. Again, out of character, parse lets me discern meaning from written things, not verbally say stuff. So, I've got my mimicry and skills and myths and artifacts, but that's all I've got. I will try to say, may we pass through peacefully.
There's no reply.
In Old Kalduhr.
There's no reply.
All right. Well, maybe it took the marble and left.
We're never that lucky.
Gleneth tosses the other lit marble down the hallway again, but this time runs about half the distance to see if there's a better view.
That marble does not get picked up, and it just lands against a wall.
I think we should cautiously proceed.
Very cautiously.
And with that, let's take a 5-minute break. You head down the hall, and you arrive. It opens up into kind of like a large space full of painted statues of people in various poses of merrymaking. There are seats and couches all over. And directly across, you see a heavy wooden door. And draped across a few of these couches, you see skeletal bodies. But as best your light can tell at a glance, the only way out is through that door directly across. Gleneth, what do you do? Or let's just have the scene.
I don't think we should probably shout just yet. There are a lot of dark corners in this space.
I'm gonna put a torch near one of these skeletons on the reclining couches. Were they at? It seems strange that they're all lying on couches. Is there like little bowls of poison? Are they wearing clothing?
Make a hunt roll with 2 dice.
All right. Where are you, Hunt? Oh, there it is. Did
that
that
5
work?
light?
I'm sorry. Yeah, 5 light. Sorry.
5 light, yeah. Take your token. Moving the torches, and most of these skeletons they're very like, they're not completely skeletal, most of them. They have like bits of skin still clinging to the bone, very emaciated, like mummies almost. And they're draped in various positions and things. But then you notice one of them draped over the couch. Their hand is moving, and it's playing with the marble, rolling it back and forth. What do you do?
Hey, Gleneth, I found your marble.
What did I say about shouting?
The figure turns and looks at you. It is a man, maybe, very wild looking, extremely emaciated, and to the point where like his lips curl back from his gums, and his hair is all like patchy and must. And he's wearing a tunic, but it like is barely held onto his like narrow frame. You just see clavicle and bone and elbow. And he looks up at you and says, I know who you are. I know who you are, and I know what you want. And he begins to almost like jealously guard the marble, which he's just rolling on the couch next to him.
To be clear, this is a very emaciated, ambulatory person, but there are also skeletons
Yes.
about the room. It's separate?
Yeah,
Unclear?
The chamber is pretty big. I would say the chamber is like the size of the chamber is like the size of like a big like banquet hall, really big, right? With like elegant furniture strewn all about, beds, couches, things like that. And there are some painted statues sort of like posed in like romantic poses around. And then many of the couches and things have skeletons, or maybe just extremely emaciated people draped across them. But this is the only one moving so far, looking at you with wild eyes and making accusations about who you are and your intentions.
I just take my marble and playfully roll it across the floor, skipping and bumping. trying to see if they will play.
His hand shoots out and he grabs it. And he says, you think this is an adequate compensation for the emotional violence you intend to inflict upon me? It is not enough. You will have to do so much more if you wish to win her heart over me. I will win it. I will get it. There is nothing you can do. No baubles will dissuade me.
It is but a gift. I require nothing of you.
He says, look around. I am the only one who has managed to outlast, to survive. I am the only one who's still here. That is what makes me worthy of her love.
This one you love, where did you see her last?
Her? You speak so casually. She is a goddess. She is Sehmet Ilska, the mistress of this place. And she will choose the one who will share her marriage bed, the one who will be with her for eternity.
Well, you've waited long enough. Maybe we can help you achieve this lifelong dream.
Yeah, she doesn't sound like our type.
Lies, deception, duplicity. You think you are the first people to come here and claim you're just passing through. I was just passing through. And I became enthralled with her. To answer the question in the chat, you do not have a new set goal yet.
There is a door, an obvious door, double doors at the other end of this hall. I'll lean over to Osto and whisper, talk low, as close to his ear as Gwyneth gets. I think we cannot pay whatever price he wants. He will want to destroy us as rivals, and I don't know if we'll be able to talk him out of it. Should we subdue him? Run?
Yeah, I'm thinking running. Just because he looks like that doesn't mean he doesn't have something up his sleeve like that sorcerer.
It's interesting that he speaks your common tongue.
Yeah, he came through the baths as well and has been here going quietly mad, as far as I can tell.
Maybe we can just walk past.
He's gone back to playing with the two
for
marbles
that.
now. And just like laying on his couch and looking over at you suspiciously while he fiddles with them.
I'm up for walking past.
Well, sir, I really hope that you do find her love. No. No titles of politeness for you then.
You think you will win her hand, but you are wrong. You are not worthy. Only I am worthy, and she will see it someday.
If we bump into her, we will let her know you're waiting.
And how great you are.
Goes back to playing with the marbles.
Slowly begin moving towards the door.
You can. They do not open. They are barred from the other side.
I was just gonna put his head against the door and just stand there. Of course.
Is this the kind of thing where, with enough strength and leverage and my knowledge of traps, we could perhaps get the right torque on bar?
Yeah, I mean, you could probably make a case.
Oh, I'm
for-
talking to Osto. He'd be the one with
okay,
the,
yeah,
the
yeah,
heavy lifting.
yeah.
He'll glance over his shoulder at the guy in the chair and say, maybe if we're quiet about it.
Why don't we, since he seems content at the moment, maybe investigate some of the other corners to see if there is another way out that we don't see now?
Up for that. And I have one other maybe idea is my archive ritual is to give up a memory to learn a piece of lore. Would it be possible to send a bee or bees through the door to see what's on the other side?
Oh, yeah, I like that. I think it's pretty interesting. You can do a hunt roll with 2 dice.
All right, I will send some bees through the doorway and see what they see. Hunt roll 2 dice. A 3.
You encounter something terrible, and the terrible thing is just going to be how they communicate to you. They're bees, after all, and they only speak bee and bee concepts. And so they come back and explain to you that on the other side of this is a hive with many cells in it.
That's better than what I thought was about to happen. I thought you were about to just start doing sound effects for a moment.
Yeah. They convey and however they convey things to you, it is a hive with many cells.
All right. We haven't learned a lot here. The bees have just one thing on the mind, really, I guess. Check other corners, see if we can find another way through or around.
Hold on. There's a hive on that other side, and he's talking about his love. Maybe pull out the bees, Corklock.
Pull out the bees?
Let him see the bees.
Oh, let the guy on the couch see the bees.
What was the
Maybe
purpose of this again?
it's bees. Maybe the goddess is a queen bee.
Oh,
But if that's true, he's going to see me as being like a step above him in the rivalry, and it's going to go ugly. I don't know about this.
Or think maybe you'd be a worthy intermediator, mediator between you and the queen, or the goddess.
So I don't know if that man really has a subtle understanding of help. I think it's all going to be a competition.
Yeah, he seems more concerned about rivals than about assistance.
I would like to use my skill in traps to start from these double doors on that side of the room, going out and around the perimeter to see if there are latches, hatches, doors, no bells.
make a 2 die hunt roll.
A 5 light.
Take a token, but no, you don't see anything.
Sarah, you were just searching for traps. Is that correct?
and manners of egress, I think, as well.
Oh,
Secret,
also okay.
secret doors.
Yeah.
I was just
there's none of
framing
that.
it within
There are
traps.
There are
Mhm.
neither traps nor other ways out.
So you just okay. Let me make sure we get everything in the room. Statues, seats, and couches with skeletons upon them. Anything else? Like a buffet platter? I don't know what.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably things like that. I mean, it looks like this was like a large entertaining space, and like you'll see like the remains of like discarded clothing, long moldered away, right? Rusted away armor, things like that.
In an out of game note, I now have 3 hunt tokens. So I could certainly
And I have
get
two.
us to the streets.
Well, right
So
now
we
you
could
have
attempt to climb.
you have no active sickle right now. So
Oh,
yeah, you have no active sickle right now. You're just in this room unless you go back to the Dwarven Baths.
Which the goal there was to open the main door, wasn't it?
Yes, what you've done. And this is where it led.
uh-huh.
We can't cross the chasm. So we don't know how to get back to the streets.
The only way out is forward as far as I can see. I don't see any other way out of here.
I guess I'll try pushing the door with my strength.
Yeah, here I think it would just be a matter of like just busting it off its hinges, right? Which you can totally do. I don't need a risk roll. You can just take the time to do it. It's an old place, right? So your strength should be enough to, at the very least, bust one of the doors off its hinges, right? So you can kind of get past it. And when you do that, on the other side of it opens up the set, which is called Sehmet Ilskaz Villa. The set goal is quite simply to find a way out of the cavernous villa. When you look on the immediate other side, you see that this villa is indeed massive. It has multiple levels. It's all inside what would have been a cave system, but that's now been carved to be a multi-terraced home. There is a waterfall and lazy river down one way. There is a lower gardens area. You see guest rooms on the level that you're at on the other side of a sort of promenade. If you keep going around, there's probably other things to find as well, but that's what you can see at a glance. You can spend 3 tokens to navigate out to the streets, no problem, or you can start searching.
Do you suppose they were her baths?
Could be. They seemed pretty hospitable to outsiders, more or less. I feel like that's probably not going to be the case in here.
Corkaluk, we're just looking for a moment. Please don't touch anything just yet.
What about the garden and the waterfalls?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, maybe on our second trip when we come back with Mazar.
So mechanically, if I choose to spend my 3 hunt tokens to be successful, we just narrate how we get to the streets from here.
I will narrate how you get out to the streets. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what I would like to do. I think we're all pretty bruised. Agreed, everyone? We'll come back here.
Sure. Should we? Well, wait.
You pooling tokens or are you all spending?
The pulling the tokens, and then the question. This gets us to the street, but not the climb.
Not
right?
the climb. No. Well, you can
We have
immediately do the
6.
climb, but yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll contribute one.
I will contribute too.
Set goal is met. You will be able to find your way out to the street. I will tell you that as you're sort of roaming around the cavernous villa, navigating elegant stairways and balconies, you'll hear a soft string instrument playing a melody faintly from up in the upper reaches of the villa. You pass by the vivid colors of succulents inside a terrarium. This place is still very well kept, meaning someone lives here. But it's the smell of water from the lazy river that draws you. You are able to follow the lazy river, a branch in the lazy river that goes under a tunnel, a short tunnel that you can then climb out of, out into the streets. And you are now back out in the streets of Layer 1 of Old Kalduhr. If you wish to make your climb here, you will notice the tiniest pinpricks of light up above, meaning you can start scaling here. You can follow the streets that go up for a time, but then you have to pull out equipment and start actually spelunking.
I, as Glennis, do not have any problem with my climbing. I will spend my hunt token if you don't feel like your characters you don't want to subject them to any ruin on the climb up. But I'll leave the decision up to you guys.
I am sitting at 5. I would be happy to spend hunt tokens and get away up safely.
Mm-hmm. Should we suss the treasure for the remainder of our hunt tokens before we leave then? Is that how that works?
Yes, if you intend to, if you have any excess hunt tokens, you need to spend them now. So
right.
We've only got 3. Mazur's got 2.
Well, I will trade my 1 for gold.
That'll only leave us with 2. We'll need 3 to get through the set.
Oh, I thought that I'm not looking at math. I thought you said you had 5.
hit 5
No,
ruin.
sorry, 5 ruin.
Understood. Then yes, I will spend my hunt token to succeed.
So all the tokens are spent, and you are able to, you're able to follow the streets that you're able to kind of follow them up to a certain, climbing over rubble and things to reach higher and higher levels. And then eventually you reach essentially just a narrow climb up. You have equipment for those of you who need it, and it's a slow, tight progression. But eventually you reach a hole in the ground, and you manage to pull yourselves out of it. And you can take a lay of the land and sort of navigate back to camp. That's no trouble. And you do. You're back in camp, and we'll do Hearthfire now that you are back in camp. So if you want to go down to the lower half of your character sheet, the first thing you have to do for Hearthfire is meet your burdens. So your burdens here are in support of your camp, the camp that is keeping you provisioned and able to continue making these digs. Erase cash, gold, or treasures equal to your burden. And once you've done that, you can unmark all your armor.
Am I correct in there is no residual gold cost to items that we keep? So if I don't turn them in for gold to my burden, are they still worth 1 gold, like 3 sets from now?
Yeah. They're always worth what they're worth. The only difference is if you keep the If you keep any armor or weapons as armor or weapons, they increase your burdens. You otherwise have
And
to
that's
put them back in
magical
found
items
equipment.
as well.
And magical items as well, yeah. No,
Okay.
magical items, if you keep period, they increase your burdens. I'll let you know when that's the case. Weapons and armor, if you want to use them as weapons and armor, they increase your burden after you pay your burdens right now. Otherwise, you can put them in found equipment or sell them. So,
Can you remind me it costs a gold to restore a backpack slot, correct?
it does indeed. That is the equipment option down in the Hearthfire.
Does the house benefit apply to our tent?
It does. Your household is different now. Your household is just the camp itself. It's not whatever it was back in Fort Durin. You can still collect mementos for the future, and you can still lower your ruin by 1 and clear any conditions you wish if you have a household.
All right. And narratively speaking, since we kind of discussed my armor being slimed away, can I just create new armor at this point?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
Or lower your burdens. So. And with any luck, you have something to stash away in your hoard, which is the point of all this.
I can assume safely that the marble I've imbued with the overwhelming mass is now one more burden.
It is not. No. Only found magic items do I, of great significance, do I make be a burden. Sort of
And
like
then
low-level
from-
magic items or not.
I ask because the marble I put a Gossamer Void portal on is marked as a burden. I feel like that's
Oh
a
yeah. I don't think it really has to be, because once you use that, it's used, right? So
yeah.
I don't think it really needs to be a burden. If you could probably take that away if you had one for it. So.
Thank you.
I get to put 1 in my hoard. I'm holding
Not
on
too
to that
bad.
warden spell.
Yeah. You get to make
I
a
have
fort.
an idea.
Okay.
If we go back to Sehmet's cause villa, we can give the guy at the door the bell and see what happens.
Just determined to ring these bells. If you're storing hoard away, you have to make one of your options in the hoard and do what it says.
So I would narrate a flashback showing my favorite memory from childhood.
Go
And
for
that
it.
would be, we'd see Osto running through the streets of Fort Durin with his older brother and their little gang, and running through the little wooded area, just not quite the forest, building little forts and crawling under tree roots and just having a grand old time in the safer part of the woods.
Nice, thank you. We can go ahead and pause the recording for a minute while you all examine the Hearthfire stuff. We'll just take like a quick 5-minute break. So Gluttonyth, it sounds like you were going to store some hoard, and what was your option there?
Yep. So I met my burdens. I was able to add 3 gold to my hoard.
Oh, that's a good haul.
Yeah, it worked out great. I cashed in some treasure from previous. And I am to narrate what person in this camp most reminds me of the Chancellor of the Yogyakarta Lyceum. And basically, as I'm kind of stashing gold away and watching the campfires burn, there's a group of scholars that Mazur is fond of conversing with long into the wee hours, and I just get so irritated at that academia speak. It rubs my makes my skin crawl.
I love it. That's good. How's everybody doing on Ruin? Did you all manage to get your Ruin deck back to your starting levels?
Oh, I thought we
Didn't.
could only do one.
You can do one, or you can spend a gold to heal one, or mark one of your free healing options down in the healing section.
Oh, well, I will go investigate that then.
Mhm.
Can you only spend one to heal one, or can you? Is it
You can spend
one
as many
to
as you
one?
wish, but it's
Okay,
one
yep.
per ruin. And then, but you also always, you can only do one of the freebies on the list. So
Right.
time.
Right. And I just broke even in terms of golden burdens once I fixed up my backpack as well.
I'm going to pay an extra gold to get my ruin back to starting. So I'll put 2 in my hoard.
Okay. Sounds good. So sounds like we're all sorted out for Hearthfire then, yeah? Well, you have some options here. You can go down the original site of the camp and continue searching the streets from there, find new sets, or you can go to that one hole that leads to the streets right in front of Sehmet Ilskaz's villa, or thereabouts anyway. You can also continue moving around the streets from there as well. You're not limited to going just to Sehmet Ilskaz's villa, but
I mean, that place did seem promising.
I'm very curious what could still be alive down here. Well, down there, rather.
Yeah, that works.
okay, we have a climb set. The climb set, as always, the set goal is, as soon as I find it here, I should just bookmark this. I don't know why I haven't yet. Someday I'll find it. Here we go. Set goal is to travel between the deep layers of Old Kalduhr. So you've only been to layer 1, so the climb will only get you back down to the streets of layer 1. And you've been down this passage already once, and so you at least have the element of knowing what is coming, so there's no surprises as far as that goes, and that's good. And indeed, getting down this sort of like narrow rocky hole portion, which is pretty deep, it's probably about like, and I would say like probably it's probably a good half a mile like down. You eventually get down to an upper street level, and you can navigate these streets back down to sort of near the area of Sehmet Ilskaz's villa. And navigating down these sort of upper tiered streets is a little tougher because is a little tough because the buildings are mostly collapsed, the paths are blocked, and so you have to kind of sometimes scramble down sides of, overlooks that you didn't intend. So it's kind of slow going, but at least you know where to go, where you've been. And so this climb may not be incredibly complicated, except your presence previously did alert something that has been skulking around looking for you. And now here you are back again after presumably you went up for like a day or so rest. There is approaching you, bobbing gently in the air, a creature that resembles a giant floating anglerfish, bulbous, toxic vapors produced from its body are what's keeping it aloft. And you see it bobbing up in your direction. It has, like an anglerfish, a little light, and you actually see the light first. And initially, maybe you think it's like a person or something, but you realize pretty quickly that it's not.
As a
Thank you.
reaction, Gleneth would probably create an illusion of herself further down,
Oh,
like
to draw it
below the
away.
party. Mhm.
Yeah. We can make it a risk roll. I like that. I think it's a good.
As I cast the illusion, I also cast a marble, so there's the ting 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 noise along
Right,
with.
yeah. So you're doing an illusion, which I like. This is not one of your capital R rituals, but it can nevertheless, you can describe how you're doing something like that. Is the illusion, does it come from the marble? Like, is it the marble that sort of like is infused with the magic and makes it appear like you?
I think that my illusions aren't auditory, that I don't necessarily have like creating sound in this moment. I'm just creating like a vision of me in order to create distracting noise. I'm also throwing a physical
I've got
object.
it. Okay, yeah, I like that. That's very good. What could go wrong here, Brian and Ben?
The way it navigates isn't based on vision, so this does nothing.
And I was going to
Yeah.
say the opposite. It sees right through this and
Yeah.
knows that you did it and goes straight for you.
I think no matter what, you're fighting the thing if you fail. Let's talk about dice. You've got one light die between the marble and your skill. I'll take devil's bargains from everyone here. No matter what, all your marbles spill out and are rattled down into the cracks and crevasses.
As you reach to your marble bag, you realize that there's actually a hole in the bottom of it. And you have left a trail of marbles behind you, and there is a child from the camp that has followed you into this.
They made the climb. Maybe they like took your gear or something, or like the gear you left there. They just
I thought we're currently in the climb, right?
No. Well, you are, but but there's a part that's just like a shaft, right? But I suppose the kid could get on the ropes and come down. So.
Spider child, I don't know.
Yeah. It's a fun devil's bargain in any case. Ben, do you have an offer?
I don't think it's better than that. So
Yeah. 2 offers, Gleneth.
No, they're my marbles. You can't make me. I'll just take the one.
You have 1 light die, and I don't think a dark die is automatic yet. So go ahead and just roll light 1.
Sorry, hunt.
Risk.
Risk. Thank you.
Yeah.
I rolled a 1.
I don't see it. I probably need to refresh the room. Let me go to the link. Okay. It was a 1, you said? You can add a dark die, try again, or you can fight the thing. Those are your options.
Let's try it.
Hey,
6 dark.
Full success. You do take a ruin. I think the ruin is, I think you have to clamber down just close enough to do this, and you inhale some toxic vapors. And so I'm going to give you the condition poisoned and your ruin goes up, but you're otherwise succeed. Describe how you get the thing to go away.
Glennis kind of scrambles down and then throws the marble too soon and then creates the illusion. And so the thing swivels around in front of her. And I just get this face full of noxious gas as I send the illusion down into the black to lead it away.
I'd like to point out at this point that you all have to name a lot of creatures right now. You have to name the pale lizard things. You have to name the wardens. You have to give them a name that you're going to know them by. You have to name the Blackfire sorcerer. That might be the name. I don't know. You have to name the muck creature. and this anglerfish creature.
I thought we
5
named the
names.
pale lizard as the Hound of Nagane. Is that wrong?
He
That's
decided
what
to keep using it, I thought.
that's the name in the that's what they're called in the
Oh.
incursion, but and we can certainly keep calling them that. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, because we got it from my bestiary. So-
That's right, you did. Okay, so that's Hounds of Nagane. That one's sorted. But you can name these other things because you might run into them again, right? Especially the stuff that you find in the streets and the climb. You might run into those things again. So
The wardens were orphan haters, I think, after Mazur put that helm on.
okay, very good. You all can track all this on your bestiary as you have time,
Oh,
but just a
fair enough.
reminder that you will need to name them. I can tell you the endurances whenever you have your names for them sorted.
I think it's gone.
Yeah, good. Thank you. Those were big teeth.
You are now back down on the streets. You can take that watery tunnel back into Sehmet Ilskaz Villa, or you can keep searching on the streets.
Start with the villa.
Well, and this is an out of character question. Is it better to go and find several different destinations and then explore them as we see fit? Or do we own, because we got a little bit more than trapped when we headed in too deep one set after another and we couldn't get back to the streets. So I don't know if we should explore or not. Does anybody have any thoughts?
I mean, I'll point out that that was from a devil's bargain when you couldn't get back along the cart thing. So
That's right. That's right.
We're here for loot. It seems like go for the villa since we know where it's at.
There were many shiny things in there, I'm sure.
you can climb
Let's
back.
do it.
Yeah, you can get up through the lazy river, back into Sehmet Ilskaz Villa. And you can still hear that soft melody being played by some stringed instrument up in the higher reaches of the villa, because this is essentially just a vast cave that's been carved to be a home, right, on the inside. You're sort of like right in the lower gardens area. This area was clearly designed for entertaining people. It's full of more of those painted statues of people in various poses of merrymaking. And there are also other chairs and seats and couches things set among these rows of like beautifully kept like flowers. How they're able to grow this stuff in the darkness is not known, but everything seems pretty well tended.
In my estimation, with my skill in illusions, does it look like these plants are alive in
They
the
are.
traditional
Mhm.
chlorophyll sense? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's old Kalduhr. They might be using some other method of keeping them alive and growing them, but they're alive. Yeah.
Okay.
It's lots of orchids, lots of ferns, big flowering, viney plants, things like that.
It's beautiful here.
Maybe we should go get our friend from the front door. Let him know we have a way in.
That's intriguing.
He might distract whatever's in here.
Oh, you mean the crazy guy and the?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he can just walk out now, right? Because you busted the door down. So,
But if he's looking for someone in here, he might
Yeah,
give
he
us
might-
the
he-
opportunity.
he might have already wandered out. So,
Or that.
Kinda like it.
Yeah.
It becomes a complication to a future role. In looking at the lower gardens, I would like to start seeing if I can identify very interesting plants or any of them poisonous, if there are any like method to how they're growing, just to investigate.
Yeah, go ahead and make a 2-die hunt roll, or actually 1 die, unless you have a relevant skill. I don't see a relevant skill. Maybe you have
Not
another
really.
item that would work, but
Hmm.
so 1 die then.
I'm sure while you're doing this, my bees are buzzing around pollinating things.
Mm.
Yeah.
A
Hey,
6.
6. Take a token. While the plants are immaculately, surprisingly well kept and alive, there's nothing particularly I should say the plants they're still quite mundane. These are not the kinds of things that are going to um, I guess oppose like an orchid grown underground as a novelty of some
Coffee
sort.
table plants. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if it's like treasure worthy stuff necessarily. I will tell you though that you can find some stairways that are going up into what appears to be, well, I think you'll smell it first. Food. You smell food coming from a corridor up some stairs or off some stairs that are going up.
Mm.
Let's go over to Osto or Osto. What are you doing? I keep saying Osto because I have another character with that name, but they pronounce it Osto. Osto in another game. What are you doing?
Gonna follow my nose. Let's head towards that smell. See what
Yeah, sounds good.
see what I can see.
Korkalik, what are you doing?
I'm fine with trailing along on the follow the nose smell business.
Yeah, you can all make your way up these stairs, and you end up in a dining hall, and there is a wooden table covered with food, drink, fresh fruits, greens. There are clean plates and mugs and silverware. The table is set for 4 people, though it's big enough to accommodate a dozen or more people. There are only 4 chairs there. What do you do? Gleneth, did you go with them?
I did.
Okay.
I followed behind and would say something along the lines of, I think I've heard songs sung about this very thing, and it did not go well.
You mean don't sit and eat?
I think we should be
probably don't.
introduce ourselves to the hosts first.
Or maybe don't.
Hmm.
This is a lot of food prepared underground in a place thousands of years old. That's a trap. This is a trap.
Does my skill in traps confirm?
It's the Mad Max meme. He's like pointing up and
Yes.
saying, that's a trap. Yeah.
I'm more Admiral Akbar myself, but whatever.
There's that too. Yeah.
Are there doors
Leading out? Yes, there are.
Mhm.
In fact, it's an opening with some stairs that go up, or it's a landing with some stairs that go up.
What about the walls? Are there paintings, murals?
This one has no statues. Interestingly, every other place has had statues. And yes, there are murals in the room with snake motifs. There are snakes, sort of like, it's almost like decorative, like the idea of snakes, but snakes as borders, snakes as, snakes climbing up the trunk of trees. It's very snake motif.
I mean, she's
So-
named Sekhmet Ilska.
Right.
Pretty serpentine.
Indeed, yes. Well, and also that's Naganese naming tradition, the ILS, which is and the Naganese role. They're like snake weirdos. So in the setting, that's something you'd all know. So the
Snake
snake thing
enthusiasts, I
would
think
not
is-
the snake thing would not be surprising to you at all. So
Snake enthusiasts, I think, is the PC way of. What do I see when I poke my head into the stairwell? What do I see leading up?
I don't know what you see, maybe nothing, but you do hear the music being played. It's more loud from that direction.
Well, I think whoever's home is upstairs. Do we want to go back out and around and explore elsewhere? Should we continue to go up?
Should we look in guest rooms first? Are we trying to pinch things from this household before moving on?
That's why we're down here, right?
There are bound to be treasures. I don't know if we really want to introduce ourselves before we take them.
Probably
Or even after.
not. Is there like a library, a study?
I mean, you have to go out of the dining hall and start looking around more. I couldn't say. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I'll look around for some place like that.
You can make a hunt roll just to kind of generally scope out the area outside the dining hall. Obviously the gardens are down below. Go ahead and make a hunt roll.
Don't think I have anything to help me here. A 5.
Take a token, but you encounter something terrible. You'll notice that there's a set of upper gardens as well. So you have lower gardens and upper gardens. And you'll also see these sort of like rooms, these entertaining rooms, one of which was sealed up. That's where you met the crazy man. And that's how you got in. And then there's also another like set of rooms that are like that on the same level. But they're not locked. You can look right in. The doors are open. And you'll see your friend skulking about on a stairway across the way. He's been, who knows, he's been at least a day since you've been here. He's probably, might have taken him some time to work up the nerve to walk out of that room, but he finally did. And you can see him skulking about, twitching and looking around to see if anybody's seeing him, ducking occasionally.
Yeah, you said your friend was skulking around, and for a second I thought, Mazer? That's not.
No, we don't know where Mazer is yet. Mazer will hopefully catch up with you all at some point. Actually, you haven't gone that
Skulking
far.
somewhere.
Truth be told, Mazer can just come out the entrance to the baths and get here. So that's what you've discovered. Korkuluk, what are you doing?
I feel like I'm a little lost in the layout. Lower garden, upper garden. 2 levels of house, more levels.
Yeah, there's
view?
there's basically just like a level in between them that's like where these like guest rooms, these bedrooms, these entertaining rooms are. Okay. And there appears to be more levels above the upper gardens too, but you just can't see what's up there until you go up there.
Okay. I think poke around in the guest bedroom, see if I can find something lootable.
Yeah, you can head up that way. There's a number of rooms. They're just like little compartments, actually. Each has a soft bed with actual bedding, a wash bowl, towels. There are actually quite a lot of amenities in each of these little rooms. There's probably about half a dozen of them. What do you do?
You're muted.
You're muted. We can't hear you.
Oh, sorry. I said, are the porcelain wash bowls fairly ancient build? Like, I'm asking in part because I'm still sort of searching for a descendant of my creator, and it seems like these might predate Mashiko.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. At a glance, they just look like porcelain wash bowls, but you can certainly investigate them more closely.
I'm gonna look for something valuable that's not nailed down.
Yeah, make a hunt roll.
Right. Is antiquities of use or artifacts rather?
Yeah, antiquities works.
So 2 light on a hunt.
Yep.
A 5.
Take your token. But no, there's nothing special about these porcelain wash bowls.
Okay.
Everything actually is surprisingly like I don't think it would be like out of reach to say that this place is more recent than old Kalduhr. You know, like whoever set up here has come since the days of old Kalduhr. What are you doing, Glynneth?
If I head up one more floor to the upper gardens, do I then have like another series of staircases up
Yes,
from that
there
floor?
is one more floor above the upper gardens that you can go up to.
And is the music even louder than it
Yes.
was back down in the dining room,
Yes,
right?
the music's getting louder as you get closer, higher.
Mhm. I would like to see if there are any treasures hidden amongst the garden, jeweled fairy houses and things.
Yeah, the upper gardens are, oh, this is actually pretty overgrown compared to the lower ones. It's grass, wildflowers, small brush. There are statues that are a little rougher in appearance. They're not rendered quite as in a detailed way, and they are in poses that are aggressive and angry. That's what you see at a glance, but if you want to dig around more, you can make a hunt roll.
I think I will, but I think I will be investigating these statues in particular.
Go for it.
A2.
Me too. We'll come back to that.
Yep.
Osto, what are you doing?
I think I'll check out the entertainment room that we haven't been in.
Yeah, there's another one of those near the guest bedrooms. It's like adjacent to them. It looks very much like the other one. It doesn't have any skeletons draped on the couches. It looks like all those other people were trapped in there. Here, anybody who was here was able to leave freely. But there are the painted statues in romantic embrace.
Anything I could pilfer?
Make a hunt roll.
Yeah, I still think nothing helps me here. 1.
Two terrible things. One of them is a 1, which is a really bad, terrible thing. Let's take a look at what's going on here. Just a moment. You discover, Osto, that these statues were not carved. They were alive at some point. How do you know that?
The at really close inspection, you can't see any tool marks, any kind of chips or anything like that, and all of their faces are detailed in such a way that they look terrified, but it's all way too natural.
Like they're posed in romantic embraces until you look at their faces and see like eyes in shock, right? Yeah, that's pretty good. Glynneth, you said you were examining the other statues, these more roughly hewn statues. You'll start to pick up on the same idea that these were not carved. And you'll hear the music getting closer as the player comes downstairs. And eventually they do come downstairs and they set the instrument aside. The instrument is I don't know what they call it in the world of Kalduhr, but it's a koto, like a sort of stringed instrument, that you would put on your lap. And they set it down. They are a normal appearing woman with short, dark hair and brilliant lavender eyes. That's what stands out in the light. And she says, I am Sehmet Ka. Welcome to my villa.
Hello. It is very nice to meet you. I did not think that music could possibly be played by a person down in this ancient place.
She says, Yes, it is an unusual place to establish a household, I suppose. But I find the isolation to be empowering. You can pursue whatever you want to pursue in a place like this, away from the eyes of those who do not understand and away from their sensibilities as well. Her instrument it looks really expensive. It's like really like masterwork craftsmanship, beautiful wood and metal inlays. She says, I have been expecting you, actually, ever since I saw you, break down one of my doors. And then you scuttled out and were gone. But I knew you'd be back. People always come back. I laid out some food for you. You should call your colleagues and we should all take a meal together. I have chairs set out for us.
Well, as I said to my companions, I thought it would be rude to eat until we knew if there was a host.
She's wearing a sort of toga-like gown that is, the fabric is like, it actually looks a little bit like sort of iridescent snake scales. This is Naganese fashion. Nothing unusual about that if you know anything about the Naganese. Though the sort of interesting iridescent quality of the dress, it's masterfully done, incredibly expensive garment. She says, well, let us go then. And she takes up her instrument. I should be happy to play for you while you eat.
I look down the stairs towards the direction of my companions. And as I do so, I would like to create an illusion over my own eyes, in which it looks like I am looking forward as I cast my eyes down to the ground.
Oh, interesting. That's okay. You can do that. I will tell you that before you leave this level, you will see a gate that goes out to the streets of Old Kalduhr. And there are a couple of those more roughly hewn statues standing sentry at the gate.
Osto, Korkaluk, I found our host. Our hostess.
She's calling out to you as well. She goes down the stairs. Yes, I've prepared a wonderful spread of food. Very, very difficult to get down here, as you might imagine. I do hope that my efforts will not be in vain.
I will come tottering in. I'm curious how the bees react to the presence of this being.
Not in any particular way.
All right.
She says, oh, you don't seem like the sort of person that eats.
Not often, no. Not
That's
really
all
needed.
right. You shall have the hospitality of my music.
That sounds lovely.
Osto, do you make yourself known?
Yeah, he'll kind of sheepishly peek out from the guest rooms or the entertainment room and look at Gleneth with kind of like, what? Yeah. Hi.
Your hostess, Semidil's Ka Wishu, will take your hand, Gleneth, like very suddenly. Like Osto can't see it, but she takes your hand, like as if she's surprised. And she whispers to you, Gleneth, "Who is that man?"
Is just a traveling companion and friend of mine. This is Osto.
She says, "Listen to me, Fayborn. I came here all those years ago because it was prophesied that here is where I would find the one I would marry, the one who would be mine. I built this place. I built this place as a testament to that love and indeed a home for us both. I believe your friend may be this person. This is the fulfillment of the prophecy."
Well, I wouldn't come on too strong.
She's like, no, of course not. I am a pillar of airy detachment.
And she'll feel a little flicker of a tongue as my snake has coiled down my own arm to like smell hers,
She says,
grasping mine.
what a lovely snake. And she sort of like strokes it and she speaks to it.
Mm.
The Naganese, many of them speak the language of snakes. And the snake is responding positively.
And this too has been a dear companion. Unfortunately, I do not have your tongue for it.
She says, yes, the Fayborn are well attuned to the natural world, but in this way, we Naganese have a bit of an advantage over you.
Well,
The humans, of course, are completely hopeless when it comes to the animal world. They
do.
are scared of snakes. I've heard even terrible stories that they use farm implements to behead them whenever they see them. When in fact, seeing a snake under your bed is nothing to be scared of. It's a blessing.
They do very strange things with horses. And, well, perhaps if you take Corkluck ahead, and I might tell Osto a few lovely things about yourself and your hospitality. And
that would be wonderful. Would
you
be my matchmaker in this?
He's a very fine lad, and you seem quite the catch.
I shall be waiting in the dining hall. Come, Mannequin.
We'll walk along and offer a little polite arm for her to take.
Let's have the scene with Gleneth and Osto on the stairs, say.
Osto will approach and kind of be watching her, and she goes, what was that?
Blush. I don't know, pinch your cheeks or something. Look flattered for a moment.
Flattered?
Yeah, she definitely thinks that you are her intended. And this is not going to be an easy dinner.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I found some statues that I'm pretty sure used to be people.
I was worried about that as well. And I take away my illusion and you see my eyes shift. And then again, I thought she might have been a Medusa. I didn't want to look at her directly.
Good thinking. Now I'm wondering if it's the food. She really wants us to eat.
Yes, and she was concerned that Corkluck did not need to eat. Oh, but before she ran into me, there is a gate up there in the upper garden. There are some more statues that look a little angrier than these, but we might be able to get out that way.
Right. But there's still a lot of stuff here. And also I saw the guy from the door to the baths. He's in here skulking around.
Well, that leads to the problem of two prongs that you must flirt, which I don't know if that's really. Can you smile for me? Can you be charming, Osto?
She's not really my type. But if I can play along, yeah, sure, I can play along. Probably still shouldn't eat anything.
We can tell her that it's lovely, but we just had breakfast. I don't know what time it is underground anymore. Do we charm her in hopes that we can distract her long enough to gain more treasure here, or?
Yeah, very good. Still can lie again. Yeah, I mean, we could try that. But like, maybe we should just get out. Or kill her.
She seems charming enough.
Yeah, but she's down here.
Well, I mean, so?
Does this seem like the place for normal, well-adjusted people just living their lives?
Are any of us truly well-adjusted, Osto?
No, but we're doing this.
Well, yes.
Yeah, maybe if we go along with it, she'll just give us things.
Meanwhile,
I mean,
in the dining
gifts
hall,
for her intended, right?
in the dining hall, Sehmet Ilskar says, "Have a seat here. I know you don't eat, but I couldn't help but notice that you are a sort of mobile apiary for a colony of bees."
Kind of like a symbiotic relationship we've got going. Yeah, I help the bees help me.
What if it's true I can't feed you, which pains me deeply as a considerate hostess? What if I could feed the bees? In fact, what if, and she goes and like brings over from a sideboard an incredible arrangement of orchids and other flowers in bloom. They could pollinate here. This is sort of like, this is a food source of sorts. It is an offering in any case. And she sets it in front of you where the plate would be.
Nice. Let me consult with my hive mind. And then I make like I'm going into a trance. And what I'm really doing is just sitting there stalling for time. But definitely like
She begins playing the koto. Gleneth and Osto, do you join in the dining hall eventually?
After a minute and a half of frantic whispering, yes, I think we do.
She stops playing and says, welcome. We haven't had a chance to meet. My name is Sehmet Ilskar, and you are?
I'm Osto.
Osto.
Hi.
What a fantastic name. I have met many Ostos in my life, but you are certainly the most exceptional in terms of, well, you have a rather strapping build, and you are very wide at the shoulder, and your thews are most impressive.
Oh, my thews. Thank you. I like your dress.
Oh, this old thing. Please sit.
Gleneth is standing behind Osto, gesturing to her of like,
She says, I have a feeling that you might be particularly partial to, well, I have some game fowl here that has been braised in honey. And she presents it to you.
Oh, where I come from, it's customary to offer a gift to a host before taking anything. So please, just one moment. He's gonna turn and put his bag on the chair and start rifling through it, and look pointedly at Gleneth. And then he's gonna pull out the warden bell.
Oh, interesting.
And very carefully, so as to, he'll hold the clapper so that it doesn't ring. He'll just gently set it on the table toward her.
She says, oh, how interesting. What is this, a dinner bell? If we don't have any other guests to summon, I fear.
Oh, don't you? I thought I saw someone else in the villa.
Oh, yes, I know who you speak of. The less we say about him, the better.
He was quite excited about meeting you.
Yes, well, he is a bit of a nuisance, truth be told.
Very rude.
Yes. Well, thank you for this wonderful gift. And she goes to ring it. Do you stop her?
Nope. Just gonna kind of take a very slight lean backward.
She rings it. Bum. And all of you, including Mazer Frond, find yourself on a ledge. A rocky ledge jutting from the walls of an enormous cylindrical pit. There is only the faintest sliver of light coming from somewhere high above, and you hear the sounds of hundreds of children laughing, crying, and singing down below. Indeed, down below is the metastasis. Hundreds of children grafted together in a titanic, abominable mass, fighting, playing, singing, crying. All four of you are there, the seventh bell being struck. That is where we shall conclude our session today.
Is
Bad children
Sehmet there too? Or
no.
oh,
Bad
dang.
children get the pit. Let's go to Stars and Wishes. Whoever wants to go first, take it away.
Let's start for using the word thews. It's always great when you can work in a good thew. What else? I love the image of the skeleton rolling the glowing marble. It's a nice image. So glad that worked out. Sarah wrote in the chat, not dinner bell, but wedding bells. That was cute. Can you be charming? Asta was a good characterization as well, picturing that. What else? I'm kind of glad we found out what the silver bell did, although kind of not glad that we're there. But there's, at least now I know, right?
Mystery no more.
Yeah.
It is, it's probably the second hardest set in the entire dungeon. So there's one more that I would say is harder than it. So yeah, you'll have fun with that.
Well, we found Mazur.
I had a great time. I loved this sort of all of you sort of like having to be like kind of strategic and kind of figuring out when to spend your tokens and how to spend your tokens. And I enjoyed the sort of pressure of you all trying to get out with having to do much adventure, which I intentionally made challenging to do. Like you could not get to the streets easily from the Dwarven Baths. But it was fun though. I thought you all handled it really well, and it was a good spend on the tokens, I thought. And yeah, and I really like the Sehmet Ilska set. There aren't a lot of like immediate like pressing dangers, but the place is obviously dangerous in some way, right? But you may not get a chance to see it again after the events that are about to transpire. So yeah, Wish. I'll be curious to see how that goes for you all.
A star for me for figuring out what happens when the bell rings. Kind of disappointed it wasn't just her poofing away, but I mean, it's Trophy. I kind of figured it wouldn't be quite so straightforward. Star for I'm just really enjoying both Gleneth and Corklut getting to kind of bounce off things in their non-humanness and seeing how it's always fun to see how a character reacts to non-human characters. And Gleneth made a friend who maybe will come rescue us. Just, there's a wish to get rescued by my betrothed. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I did like the kind of strategy discussion, weighing risk, and also star for Corkluck just stumbling us into trouble. That's just always a good dynamic in our group. Wishes, if we escape this, I would like to see the fallout. Maybe she'll be really apologetic.
How many tokens do you all have right now? Well, with Mazera, you'll have 2 more. So that'll be good. That could be really helpful. Mazera might be saving the day in that case. Because the Sekul here will be one you will probably want to meet pretty quickly. So
Sekul don't get eaten.
We shall see. Any other stars or wishes?
I'll go. I did have a lot of fun with the strategy. I obviously have not been playing gold as long as these 2 characters that you guys have been running. So this was only my second Hearthfire, and it's one of those things where you'll get into a rhythm of how you spend your tokens. And this dungeon has so many levels. We'll be doing this trek an awful lot. So it'll be interesting to see how all of the sets really begin to weave together our understanding and how we as characters kind of map it out as we plow through. So that's kind of like a wish more than a star. I really enjoyed the description of the villa as well, because I really did have an idea of tiers and staircases and all the rest of it. I don't want to give you a black star for the bell because this isn't better. It's gonna be fun to play, but now I think I have to throw some like really ridiculous magic at this and hope it goes okay.
Better all hope Mike can be here next week, because if Mazar Fond didn't get transported there after all, that would be hard going. So.
So there's another wish. Mike, please come help us.
Any other stars or wishes? Okay, well, that was a fantastic session. We are getting to see lots of this dungeon and all of its twists and turns, and there's so much more to do. But we'll continue next week. Everyone wave goodbye to the camera.